there are no new stories. And sometimes that's hard to hear. What is original and what is unique is your voice.
Welcome to GMP, the Great, Glorious, and Glamorous, aka the Going North Podcast. I'm your host, best-selling author, and certified self-leadership trainer with the John Maxwell team, Dom Brightman. And this is the podcast where authors from around the world help you realize that success is tangible. Now let's get on with the show. And today on the Highlight Reel Builder for authors known as GMP, the Great, Glorious, and Glamorous, it's the Going North Podcast, and we got another super special, awesome human for you today. That's right, and they're from the DMV, baby. That's right, the DMV. The good DMV, the Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, not the DMV that everybody hates to go to, because today's guest in particular, my goodness, she's an international, you heard that right, folks, international, best-selling author, multiple books. She's a speaker, writing coach, dynamic course creator, and a disability advocate, baby. So that's right. We got the DA in the building, baby. That's what I'm talking about today. So let's give it up for Miss TG herself, the one and only Tracee Garner. How you doing today, Tracee?
I'm doing great. Dom, how are you?
Oh, doing great with all the R's.
That's good. That's good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah. It's great having you here. That's right. That's right, indeed. I think you're one of the few. I think the last time we had somebody who was a disability advocate, I think Barbie Engel from like episode, like 100 plus episodes ago in 2021, I believe. So, yeah, that's right, indeed. We get a different spin on it. That's right. That's right,
Yes,
indeed.
definitely. We need all the spins we can get. Yes. Hey, we're already talking alike. We've only been here for 10 minutes.
That's right. So that means it's going to be a great spin class, right?
That's right. Yes. Well, I have some motion sickness medication in my purse. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. Don't worry. Don't worry. It won't be a Concorde jet flight. Don't
Okay.
worry. There will be no sky burnout donuts. But
No
hey,
hurl bags.
oh nah. We'd have to hurl them afterwards.
Okay. We'll just open the window and hope nobody's passing by.
Well, speaking of open windows, it's not about just the open windows, it's about open books. So my goodness, so at the age of 12, did you see yourself one day becoming a published author of multiple books and helping folks to do the same?
Yeah, I love writing. It's just been such a wonderful thing for me. It's really saved me at a time when I was depressed, and I've written 20 books so far.
Oh, shoot. One more, and then the drinking age happens. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. So growing up, knew you're going to become a writer one day. That's what I'm talking about. Indeed. That's what I'm talking about. Indeed. So any setbacks along the way to getting to book number one that you had to deal with to where it's now, I
Mhm.
guess you're running?
Definitely. I didn't know I was always going to be a writer, I will say, but sometimes when you have a disability, you really get pigeonholed into certain professions, mostly seated and mostly including the desk of some sort. So it's really hard to, at least when I was coming up, to permit people with disabilities to have the creative outlet that they needed. So I just kind of fell into writing through a contest that I actually submitted my work to, and I won. And I got a trip to New York. I got the book published, of course, and a contract and a monetary advance. So I never really knew that I was going to be writing, but I'm so glad that I feel like God gave it to me at a time when I really needed. Basically, I was failing in my academics, and I was like, please, let's find something else in case this doesn't work. So that's really where my writing stemmed from, was just having such a hard time in my academics and needing another outlet. And writing has just blessed my life and given me so many other opportunities, like being on this podcast and just a gazillion other things that have been so fun.
Yes, I'm talking about indeed. Yes, I'm talking about indeed. Yes, indeed. That world champion feel, getting that monetary advance. It's like, hey, dream come true, baby. I
Yeah.
did have to, I have to go and self-publish. It's right here.
Yeah, I'm legit. Somebody actually paid me for some words I wrote down. So yeah, that was a really validating experience that I had like at 20 something, 20 years ago. So it was great.
There you go. There you go. And if I'm not mistaken, was your first genre in the fiction category, of romance, if I'm not mistaken, or something totally different?
It is romance. It will always be romance. I love writing about African American characters who aren't ratchet, and it's just so fun. So I love depicting real people in real situations who have real adversity, issues, and overcoming like I did. My life is a testament to the overcomer and the person who really tries. And so I just gave those same adversity, real life issues of divorce and infidelity, and other things, but handling it with dignity, not with burning down the house and kidnapping the child that you're fighting over, but actual real people that have the situations and handle it in a very mature, with prayer too. And there's some faith themes, inspirational themes running through my fiction too.
Amen to that. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. Yeah, because the ratchetness, the mess gets annoying. It gets
Mm.
annoying, especially
Yeah,
when
it's
it's
just
like,
oversaturated, and I want to people to look at me and my brand, of what I'm trying to do is quality, not that there isn't a time for ratchetness. It can be entertaining and fun, but sometimes it just kind of makes you act like the people that you see depicted. And if I want people to read my work, I want them to act like civilized, educated individuals. So, there's something about that, and that's where you come from. I don't want to perpetuate any any way for people to call us out and say, see, that's why you can't have any opportunity, is because you're just so wretched, and I just think that we do a disservice to our own community who's looking at us, really for role models and guidance and encouragement. And so I just think that it can be fun so long as you don't take it too far and so long as you don't start to emulate those. But I bet people can see a real decline in their own thoughts and their own behaviors if they watch too much of that stuff. But I don't want to bash it. I think it can be fun. I think it can be entertaining so long as you go back to your civilized life and keep your job and everything else. Those people are rich and they don't really have to answer to anybody. And you have to go to work on Monday morning if your Facebook feed allows.
that's right. That Facebook feed, indeed, allowing. Sometimes it be not allowing so much. So my goodness, my
So much, so much it gets to the job before you do, and you just better just stay home.
yeah, there you go. Just so you can call in sick, or slick, as some would say. It's all good.
Send your boss the Shaggy song. It wasn't me. To see if
There
that'll
you go.
help you out at all.
That's right, indeed. I don't really wasn't you, indeed. That's what I'm talking about, indeed. So, my goodness, so what's really helped you to build your brand over the years in addition to your quality work? Because it sounds like you're really intentional about your writing and how you usually stick to one thing, and you've really helped others do the same.
Well, I just love it. Helping others do the same. I am a book coach, so I have a few students that I take on each year, and I have a children's book author that I'm working with. I'm excited about her book coming in the next couple months. I have another romance writer that I'm coaching, and she just entered her first awards thing, which is actually tonight, and through Romance Slam Jam, which is in mostly African American Writers Conference. It's grown and become a mixture of all different races and people, but it started out as the largest African American romance writers convention. And so that is going on this weekend since Thursday, and I've been in that and was on a panel. But just as far as my brand goes, I just want to empower other authors to really avoid costly mistakes. Writing and publishing, people really can prey on your ideals and your desire to publish your book, and you're so invested in it and so wrapped up in it, you could potentially end up spending, thousands of dollars, wasted time that you really should be putting into your marketing efforts once the book is done. So I just try to act as a guide. I've wasted a lot of money myself early on in my career. I was young, I didn't really know the business side of things. And I was immature because my first book came out, I was still in college. And so I had to learn to work with editors and book marketing professionals and other people that were putting my book together, and really, especially with the editing stuff, not take it personally. Really know that the people that are in the business are there to make the book, even though it's your heart on your sleeve or your child, as some people refer to it. And I do too. I say all my books are my babies, but at the end of the day, it is a product. And so that's a hard shift because we don't have those tools. We don't get those business management, business MBA tools when we're so young. You have to really go to school for that. And a lot of people haven't gone to school for that. And so they're just out here winging it. And that can cause a lot of missed opportunity and wasted money, like I said.
I can say that again. And folks definitely don't want to waste no money nowadays, especially. It's like, oh crap, it's an oil spill. Like, no.
Yes. And you don't have the money. Most new writers, the money is not up front. The money is a year and 2 years, and after several books. Most people don't make books. It's a rarity. It does happen, a lot. There is a person who has a debut and makes a bestseller list, but that money really needs to be reinvested into the product in order to do marketing, advertising dollars, placement, promotion, even travel to speak and talk about your writing, and just buying your own books to sell them at events. All of that money that you really do make is not really to pay bills. It's really to further promote the book and get it out there. So hopefully it can generate more buzz and make more money.
Oh yeah, you could definitely say that again. And you're so right, because like so many authors of successful ones, they mention how, especially in the beginning, they gave away as many books as they sold, if not more, sometimes twice as many.
You have to, because that's the only way you're going to get reviews, especially if you're someone that's unknown. People don't necessarily want to take a chance on you. And the industry has changed so much from when I first started out. Social media has both helped and hindered, your efforts, because you're not sure what social media works. Like, do I have to dance to sell this book? And it's kind of like, well, you don't, but it might be cool. You might get people looking at you if you do, because, it translates somehow, but it's just hard to know with so many platforms with Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. There's even like Book Talk, TikTok, and other, things, Amazon, and doing ads on all those places. It's hard to know what really makes a what really makes a difference and what really helps you.
Oh yeah, definitely could say that again, indeed. Definitely could say that again, indeed. Yeah, it's so true. It's like so many tools and so many places to start and go, and it's like, my goodness, where the heck do I begin? So,
Mhm.
my goodness, I know with your clients, you probably help them to really get ultra focused on where they should focus. So, so what's it like working with you as a book coach?
Yeah, I think I'm a really good coach. I think I'm encouraging, but also really candid and honest. I think sometimes, we sugarcoat things. We really, especially at the beginning of your career, you want to be as honest as possible. I encourage, my authors, my aspiring authors, to read as much as possible. Sometimes people come with an idea and they'll think nobody's done this ever. And I'll be like, this person just released last week. This is kind of similar to what they have. A lot of people who release books who aren't readers, don't know what's out there. And so I really think people should read more. I'm not saying that as a deterrence to you putting your own work out there if it's something that's similar, but I do think that you should go back through the book and really pick out pieces that you can either turn up or turn down or make it more unique. There are no new stories. And sometimes that's hard to hear. What is original and what is unique is your voice. So the world hasn't heard your voice. They may have heard the story of, Cain and Abel like a gazillion different times, but they haven't heard it from you and your perspective. And so your books are more than just the story. They are, who are you, and who are you to tell this story, and what kind of experience do you have with these issues? I'm a writer. I'm writing same old romances, but I'm a person with a disability. And so I may offer a unique perspective. I've used other characters with disabilities in some of my books. Somebody has a heart condition. Somebody has vitiligo, which is the skin disorder that Michael Jackson have, where there's discoloration. She's a woman, and she actually could pass for white because her skin is just so light colored. And that was problematic in her relationship, meeting a brother who didn't necessarily want to date white women, and had to really open his eyes and see that she wasn't white, she was Black, and that she had the skin disease. So, there are nuances of the story that's unique and different. And then there are parts of it that are really just the same as other similar tropes and other stories that we read. But it's new, it's entertaining, and it's really about escapism, to really escape the mundane things of what's going on in the news, but to read a story that's uplifting and inspiring, and just take you away, and just enhance your vocabulary and your ability to focus and read and sit down and read in the book and enjoy and quiet your mind a little bit instead of the chaos that's going on in the 6 o'clock, 7, and 11 o'clock news every single day.
Yeah, that's right indeed. That's right. All the chaos indeed, y'all. That's right indeed. That's right indeed. And you brought up some wonderful points there about adding some of adding characters with disabilities. So any other ways that basically you being a disability advocate comes out in your work, or heck even outside of your work?
I think so. I think I write a lot about nonprofit professionals that kind of solve problems for people in crises, because I'm actually a case manager by day for a nonprofit organization in the DC area. So I kind of like write those, the people that tell me their stories. I'm kind of like, wow, tell me more, because that's going to go in my book. But it's just so interesting, that how the crisis cycle starts, and it's one thing, it's one job loss, it's one missed rent payment, and it can just start these awful cycles of issues that crop up for people. So when I'm writing about that, it helps. I think it helps people realize that you're just one little incident, you're one little injury from total, chaos in your own life. People do not aspire to be in these crisis situations, but there's a domino effect of no job, getting sick and being in the hospital for a month, catching COVID. Now you have long COVID. We think that sometimes when we tell people to pull up by their bootstraps, it's like, that it's not that simple. There's
No, it's
more
not.
factors. There's a domino. If I'm 1 minute late on my rent, then I have like, probably a $3,000 penalty of some sort. And I can't catch up on that. And I can't work because I broke my leg, or whatever happens. And so I think that some of my book is about how things can turn quickly, and also to maybe help people be more empathetic, because I'm an empath. So I really take some of the issues and the cases that people have, even sometimes trying to fix them myself. But I really understand how just one little missing link in your bridge, can make the whole bridge collapse. And I think people really don't understand that until they're in situations. And all that pompousness and that arrogance, they really come down a notch, because they're like, wow, I see how this can happen. If the husband who has their 3 kids and the wife, were to get sick, we are talking about 5 total people displaced, and maybe even a 6th person if he has his mother or his mother-in-law counting on his income. So so people just don't realize one little thread It may seem insignificant. Oh, you lose your job, get another one. Well, what if you're older, you're facing ageism? What if you have a skill or a trade that you have done for 40 years and now you're 60 and nobody wants to hire you, and that trade is gone. So there's just a number of factors that I think people don't think about when it comes to trying to relate to others and their plight, that really, they need to think about.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So many great points you brought up, indeed. Especially the whole ageism thing that isn't really talked about too much, but it's kind of an elephant in the room during times like these where there are so many generations in the workplace. Because, my
Yes.
goodness.
Mhm. And the intersectionality of all that. I mean, I'm getting older. I'm in my mid 40s. They say you're considered older and, kind of obsolete for some workplaces at 37. You have to stop. You're at high risk pregnancy if you have a baby at 30 or 35. And then I'm African American, I'm a woman, and I'm overweight. So I mean, all of these things, is sad that we have to be judged in these ways. But all of those factors are weighing on potential employers' minds where they really shouldn't be. But that is the way of the world, and it's very sad. So it's just another illustration of how one little thing can really deter someone from hiring you when you may be a perfect candidate, but they're allowing their own bias. And I call it conscious bias because I think they are aware of it. If they were not, they'd work harder to take those factors out of their, when they judge, of their consideration, and give people an opportunity in spite of whatever appears to them to be something that they can't work around.
Oh, yeah. That's right, indeed. That's right, indeed. Folks be knowing it's conscious at this point nowadays.
Mhm,
Folks
mhm,
got to be on their
absolutely.
tippy toes nowadays for it not to
Mhm.
be unconscious.
Yep, yep. Too many books and too much education and too much discussion about it for people to be unaware. I realize people live in their own bubbles, but you know, there's just there's just no excuse for being ignorant anymore.
Oh, yeah. That's right, indeed. No excuse to be ignorant, indeed. So, my goodness, so you mentioned that you have a wonderful job on top of everything else that you're doing. So, you must have mastered the secret to get 200 hours out of every week. So, how do you manage all of the stuff that you do? Like, how do you keep it all balanced? Like, well, if there even is a balance.
Well, I take my mental health days, that's for sure. But I would just say that, being really organized is probably the most important thing for me. I have everybody has the same amount of hours every single day. And I actually have help. So if I don't have help, if they don't show up for the day, I'm really kind of screwed. But I'm on my phone, I'm on my, phone at night, just setting things in motion for the next day and really just kind of having contingency plans for my contingency plans. So most people have plan ABC. Tracee has plan DEF and G. So I just think that being an organized person has really helped me being proactive to mitigate some of the fallout if things happen. Dealing with my chronic disease has taught me a lot of patience. But just I have so many lists and things that I do, and I do my goals. I try to do them at the beginning of the year. I love goal setting and I love crossing and checking things off. But just, and mostly my writing and my coaching is done on nights and weekends. So, I try to make use of after my 9 to 5, it's time for my passion projects. And on the weekend too. And sometimes that means you have to sacrifice going out or going to the movie or doing something if you want to. You shouldn't sacrifice it all the time. But, sometimes when people ask me to go out, I'm like, I'm trying to get my next book out. I'm going to have to miss that one. And so I think if you're really willing to make a sacrifice, because I do enjoy it, sometimes you go hang out with people, you're like, well, I could be doing something else right now instead of talking to you. But but you just have to try to, like you said, find a balance. Have a little bit of fun, but then really work hard because I have a certain amount of books that I want to get out, before I get too old or before my disease really affects me more and my abilities. So I just feel, I think since I've gotten older, I feel a greater sense of urgency to do my accomplishments. And I think that that is also bearing down on me sometimes. Sometimes it can bear down in a stressful way, but most of the time I try to channel it into a positive energy, like get it done, get it done, get it done. And then when you retire, you can really rest and do the things. But just I like all that I do. I like my 9 to 5 because I get to help people and help them uncover resources and be empowered. And then I like my writing because it's really a creative outlet for me. And I like talking and speaking and working with my students, just because they get to realize a goal of their own and a finished product that they can hold and kiss, and sometimes, lick if they want to. If you want to lick your own book, hey, do it. I'm gonna give your kid both kisses. Do it. I cradle my book like a baby, like, hey, baby, you look so good. Look at you. So it's just such a rewarding thing that I do. Like I seriously like hold my books and like stroke them, like, oh my God, you guys look so good. And just arrange them and put them on your shelf, and like your name is in bold letters. And it's just such a fun, if that's what you're into, like me, it's such a fun accomplishment to realize a goal like that. And I want to do it 100 times over. I'm only on 20, I got 80 more to go, but I'm going to settle for a happy medium of 50. So that's my goal. Secret goal is 100, and realistic goal, that I'll still be so happy I accomplish, is 50 books.
That's what I'm talking about. Centenarian, a book for every year, baby.
Yes. Yep.
That's what I'm talking about, indeed. And that's definitely solid, indeed, because it's so true. It's like with the whole aging thing, it's so true. It's like, oh, urgency increases because it's like, oh yeah, time, it just keeps moving so fast. It's like it
Mhm.
has Roadrunner feet. It's like Sonic the Hedgehog. It just keeps on moving faster with time. So yeah. So any any encouragement for those who may feel like time is escaping and they're trying to maybe write their first book and they're like, ah, darn, writer's block keeps showing up.
I don't know. I really don't believe in writer's block. Of course, I know I have advice and everything, but I don't believe in writer's block because I just think it's really lazy block. I mean, I really think that if you get with people that encourage you, I was just in a workshop today where we're talking about NaNoWriMo. And for those who don't know, NaNoWriMo is National Novel Writing Month. It's held twice a year, I want to say in April and November. But the goal is to try to write 50,000 words. And the other thing with people, kind of stopping and stalling on their goals of writing a book is just at some point in time, I look at it like your new home. At some point in time, you have to be okay with how the living room looks. You've done all that you can. You've bought everything from Home Goods and Ross and everywhere other home store, but you have to open your doors and you have to let visitors come in. So I really look at writing books. I look back at some of my old books. I'm like, wow, I could have changed this and I could have changed that and I could have did this, but that book would not be out if I had a fussed with it for so long. So sometimes I wonder why people do take such a long time. And I know it's the perfectionism in them, but honestly, the book will never be perfect. All you can do is be sure to get beta readers, people to give you input, be sure to get quality editors, be sure to get professional cover designers. But at the end of the day, even all of that outside professional assistance cannot replace writing a quality book. And that is just putting your heart and soul out there, not being able to hold back, not being afraid to let it all out there and put it on the table, and being proud of. I'm so proud of the books that I've written, even though as I've matured in hindsight, I could have tweaked a couple little things, but at least they're out. And my count of released and published books keeps growing, as opposed to hoarding them, never letting anybody see them, and they're just sitting collecting dust. And my frustration at not putting anything out would just be mounting, that it would just consume me and make you an old crotchety man or woman. And so I just think that you have to release, you have to get as much feedback as you can. The other thing I'll say that stops people is a lot of people get feedback and they don't implement any of it. And it's like some of the people that read that book told you what was wrong with it and you refused to fix it. So there's that people don't admit, and that people don't want to share. It's like, we told you what was wrong with this before you got to Amazon, and now you're wondering why you're getting 1-star reviews. I too have had bad reviews, but you have to make a decision that you're going to keep going no matter what. If Oprah tells you this book, I want to set it on fire, and we'll be like, well, at least can I sit and watch, and we'll have some cups of tea, like, at least, just try to turn everything into a positive. At least, even if Oprah was to reject it, at least she spent the time and took a look. That's further than anybody and a lot of other people have gotten. So it's kind of like Beyonce's goodwill. Like, at least she wore us, at some point in time. And it's okay. So you have to be okay with what you're going to put out, and you have to let people see it at some point and be okay with that. If you're really going to be a writer and you're going to stick to it, you're going to have people hurt your feelings, reject you, and say you're not good enough. And that's okay. You have to move beyond that and say, this is what I like to do. This is what Tracee likes to do. And Tracee's going to stick to it until she can grow and get better and better.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Better and better indeed, y'all. That's what I'm talking about. Indeed, that's right. Heck, if Oprah said she wanted to burn my book, I'd be like, hey, guys, check out the book that Oprah wanted to burn. I mean, a perfect market. Read how
Yes.
much trashy it is.
At least have a photo op. I mean, you could have a photo with Oprah while she burns your book. It's okay. There's more. You can print more. There's no thing but a chicken wing. Go ahead.
Speaking of chicken wangs, here you've been metaphorically
Get you
flying.
some get you some marshmallows and y'all can make some s'mores.
Heck yeah, sweet. S'mores at Oprah. There we go. That's right,
Right.
indeed. You heard it here first, y'all. If she does s'mores with Oprah, she owes us royalties, darn it.
Yes. And that's the thing. She had to buy a book to burn it, right? So, you at least got
Oh,
$1.
there you go. That's right. Brownie points if you get multiple shots. It's like one shot's like jumping for joy, another shot of you crying while she's burning it. It's like, yeah, this is good marketing and publicity. Ah,
Yes,
darn, she's
turn it
burning
into
it.
a production. Turn it into a production. I mean, you really could. You can spin anything. Look at the people in the news, how they spin things all the time. But you could rip the pages from your own book, read passages, and then burn them. Be like, this is so hot. It must be go into its fire to be with its friends. Burn, burn. It's just, you can turn it into anything you want. You don't have to be relegated to it all being negative. You write the story. That's the best thing. You can write the story of how you tell the tales.
Oh, yeah, that's right, indeed. The telltales. That's right, indeed. Them tales be telling, y'all. That's right, indeed. No matter what kind of tale it is, could be even a foxtail. Who knows? That's right, indeed. Oxtail if they're Jamaican, maybe. Let me stop. Well, fun question been loving to pop on guests recently, and that is if your wonderful book, I believe, actually, I'm not sure if this is still your newest book at the time of this recording, but A Wonderful Disability, an Anecdotal Field
Mhm.
Guide for the rest of us. If that book was a food, what would it be and why?
Wow, that's a good question. I couldn't even think of that if you paid me. Um, let's see. I don't know. I think it'd probably be something that you'd pick up and it would kind of fall apart. But the goodness is in, using your fingers and getting all the little bits and pieces. What I mean? Like a really good sandwich that just kind of incinerates, but you still eat it. You still eat it all up and you still want it, even though it's just so messy. And that's life to me. That is a metaphor for life, being kind of this, it looked really good when you put it all together, and when you idealize it, it's a beautiful sandwich, but now you have to cut it, right? You have to cut it in half so that it's manageable. And life is sometimes unmanageable life sometimes falls apart, and sometimes in your life you have to pick up the pieces. You'll still do them, you'll still get through them. Somebody will finish their sandwich, and for the sake of decorum, resist licking their plate. But they they will enjoy every piece of it. But it does get messy, and I love sandwiches, so I guess that's, and I always have like a club which has, like, turkey and ham and lettuce and tomatoes and bacon, and it's just everything. But every time you go and bite it, like, it just deteriorates. And that's kind of like life is. I'm trying to catch it. I'm trying to bite a piece of this life, but I can only manage so much, and I get whatever I can out of it, even as a person with a disability.
Yeah, that's right indeed. So it's club sandwich, y'all. So that's right. That's right indeed. So eat the club, don't hit people with the club. That's right. That's right.
Unless they want a piece of your club, then you can right hook them.
There you go. And then you have your friends drag them to a nearby nightclub, and then they wake up and be like, "What in the world happens? Why is it so loud? This is not the same place it was before."
Yes.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, we're coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive, and that is if you're to wake up tomorrow and you're 25 again, but you're in 2022 still, with all of your knowledge and experience, what
Oh, it's a
advice would you
great
give to
question.
yourself?
I would say move a little faster. I think that there are just some missed opportunities that I would have loved to keep pursuing, with getting more book contracts as a young person with both the stamina and the youth, on my side. And so I just would have went after more if I hadn't have been shy or timid or uncertain, about my abilities. Like, I could have risen to the occasion, and I'm not upset about that, but I just know that, aging with a disability, my muscles getting weaker, it's hard. It's hard getting older with a chronic condition. And so I would just tell myself, you can do it. Send out all the queries, contact all the publishers, get you a six-figure deal. Because I think, you lack confidence when you're young. Not these millennials, I will say, but me, the X's and the Y's of the world, and the baby boomers, the world could have been, it is still could be, but we could have been just as bold and just as greedy, for lack of a better word, just as greedy as these children, these young adults are today. And they're getting everything. They're getting everything, and good for them. I wish, there was some more respect for their elders, unfortunately, but they are going after so much and changing so much. And that part excites me. I'm a little terrified that they might take us out too, but at least they will, they're not afraid, like we were, a little bit more conservative, a little bit more held back. And I think that that's good, just so long as the respect factor could remain intact and less entitlement. But good on them. Good on them.
Ah, yeah, that's right indeed. That's right indeed. Have that courage, y'all. That's right. Be brave, y'all. That's right. Get what you want. Yes, indeed. As long as it's good and it doesn't hurt nobody. That's the main thing.
Yes, and without the heat. Leave the heat at home. Okay, don't packing. No packing, please. That's the scary part.
But
But
you're
the
packing
majority of them,
yourself.
yes,
You're packing literary award-winning books, though.
yes, yes. Well, I'm talking about them. I'm talking about the cold metal, uh, you know, 0.9 millimeter type apparatuses. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Leave it at home, please. Give us a fighting chance. That are left. But yeah, that's not funny at all. But yeah, but I am making light of it. But yeah, it's a lot of work to do.
That's right. That means you got to play Vanessa Williams' Work to Do every day, y'all. That's right. Got work to do it. Well, before any other random song references pop out of nowhere, I know folks need to pop onto your site and pop on Amazon and buy tons and tons of copies of your books and keep up with all the stuff that you're doing. So, for those who need to do just that and keep up with the mighty Tracee herself, what's the best way for folks to do so?
Yeah, the best way is to go to my website at traceegarner.com. That's Tracee, Tracee, Garner, my last name, Garner, traceegarner.com. I'm on Instagram, Twitter, and I just got my Facebook page back. It was hijacked probably by a millennial, but it's back up. And I'm also at Tracee Garner on Facebook.
Woohoo! Well, there you have it, folks. That's right, indeed. Head over to Tracee's wonderful site. We're going to put a link to that in the show notes, indeed. So you can also subscribe to our newsletter, indeed, so you can keep updated, indeed. You can keep on up like an arrow, indeed, y'all. That's right, indeed. So, any parting words before we close up shop, Tracee?
I just want to thank you so much for having me. It's great to talk to you, and I appreciate your show and all your listeners. And if anybody would really like a free book of disability or, one of my romances, just use the contact me page on traceegarner.com and just tell me how you heard about it, and I'll be happy to send you probably an ebook, or if you really want a paperback, I can work that out too. But I'm happy to share my work with you and others. And I thank you again for the opportunity.
Thanks a bunch for tuning in and setting aside some of your time to listen to this wonderful podcast, Going North. If you really enjoyed what you heard, do me a solid and share this with your network and someone that you care about that would get something out of it too. And be sure to subscribe to hear more, and heck, even check out the backlog if you would like, because there are hundreds of episodes to choose from, and they just keep getting better and not butter.